Greetings. This is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central, right here in Kent, Ohio, this lovely morning. How y'all doing out there? Just adjusting some of these levels over here. Make sure I don't take it over into the red zone. I don't want to go into red. That's right. We're going to knock them dead, but we're not going to go into the red. Let me go ahead and get the lead out over here too. All right. Now, you know why we're here. You know what we do. You got more than just a clue. So you know what you need to do too, and that is go ahead and subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts channel. And now that we got that out the way, let's go ahead and make your day with some words of wisdom from the island nation of Jamaica. What go on by the morning can't come good at evelin. What go on by the morning can't come good at evelin. Now, I shouldn't have to explain that one, so I'm going to let that one ride. And we're just going to go ahead and read another poem from the book. Shushu Moko Jumbi. Shushu Moko Jumbi. Let's see if I can find a one I haven't read yet. Let's see. Here goes one here. Let's see. No, I don't want to do that one. Here we go. Here. No, read that one already too. I forgot to mark these when I was going through them. Okay, here we go here. This one is a West Indian love song. I'm going to put my glasses on just to make sure I can read it properly. I don't know why I love you so. You treat me bad, make me mad. Your tongue lash me like chain and leave me in pain. On the street you drag me name in mud and me tears fall out me head in a heavy flood. When I leave you I get worry head. You call me back to warm your bed. Still you cuss me till I nearly dead. You use me as if I was a rag and make me so mad. I don't know why I love you so bad. You want to think about that. Why would you love somebody bad? Why shouldn't you love somebody good? Think about it. Don't stink about it. All right. And moving right along. That selection, of course, was by our poet of the month, Althea Romeo, or Althea Romeo, whichever you want to, however you want to say it. It works either way. Either way. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and move on and groove on with our story from the book by Norma Marceray entitled The Fences Between. The Fences Between. Yes, we're going to keep right on reading from the book because this is one of the best books you could ever put in your nook. Of course, you can't put it in your nook because nobody has turned it into an audio book yet or digitized it either for that matter. So what we're doing here is a world premiere. World premiere. Here we go. And I'll answer your question in just a little bit, Gina. I see your question out there. Chapter 8, An Unexpected Happening. As children, we chanted a little verse every time the warm spring rains announced that the season of winter was departing. April showers bring May flowers. 3 family members very dear to me had birthdays in May. Mom, my Aunt Clella, and my sister Ethel. Ethel had not come downstairs on this particular day to console me last night. The question is why? Where was my sister when I needed her? Okay, oops, one more thing I got to do. All right. We were so close as sisters. Our family chores were generally coordinated peacefully. We traveled together to the movies, to church, to our friends' homes. We sang in a church quartet. Ethel sang soprano, I sang alto. We shared confidences about the events we liked and the things we disliked, the books we read, the things we wanted to do, the events we wanted to see, and the places we wanted to visit. Our life goals of service were similar. I wanted to be a teacher to feed the mind. Ethel wanted to be a doctor and heal the body. Paradoxically, Ethel spent more time with the little ones' studies, and I was the family physician. It was I who made the steaming hot onion and mustard poultice when Mom had her severe bronchial colds every winter. It was I who squeezed a splinter out of a finger and coaxed a cinder out of an eye. Maybe Ethel only said she wanted to be a doctor because no one would have paid her any attention to her had she said teacher. That was her older sister's choice. Maybe I needed to move on so Ethel could come into her own. Big sisters have a tendency to hog the whole show, to dominate the landscape. With me out of the way, Ethel could be the big sister, the number one daughter. For a while, I was angered at not knowing about Ethel's playground position, but I did not envy her. I would have shared her playground incidents as she had shared with me a happening in an employer's kitchen. Maybe Mom had a point when she said I was selfish. I was the one who was given the Mental Culture Club college scholarship. I was the one who played the piano at church, taught a Sunday school class, and directed a youth group. I was the one who won a third place art prize at the Ohio Theater for a pen and ink drawing of Abe Lincoln. I was the one who was most often called on the phone for special cooking and catering jobs. Yes, it was time for me to leave home, to get out of the way and let Ethel. But why had she not attempted to see how I was? She could have said something to me to let me know she understood. How would last night's incident affect our future? On this May morning with the pronounced post-winter chill in the air, I kept an agonizing farewell. I wept an agonizing farewell to Mom and my sister. I had already said a glad farewell to my aunt upon her marriage a year ago. Long before dawn, I stepped noiselessly out the back door, down the porch steps, into a foggy, gray mistiness. The moisture-laden atmosphere was holding back the torrential rains, eager to drench the retreating night. Blackness. I walked through the back alley and across several streets to Grandma's house. My sore, aching, and bruised body rebelled at carrying the nearly empty suitcase taken from its hiding place behind the piano. It was always there for the next trip to my live-in quarters as a cook. This morning, my suitcase and I were leaving the springtime of my life behind. Grandma was an early riser, but no one was stirring when I arrived at her house. I sat on the back porch steps for an hour, half hidden and uncomfortably protected by a tall lilac bush and a fully leafed pussy willow tree. I waited for some sounds that would tell me Grandma had awakened and was putting the kettle on the stove for a cup of tea. As she unlocked the kitchen door in response to my light tapping on the window, I shoved my suitcase in ahead of me, saying rapidly, Grandma, I want to leave my suitcase here. When I get off from work tonight, I want to talk to you and Grandpa about my staying here for a while. Thanks. Bye. If I had said another word, I would have burst into tears. I did not want that to happen. The chilling rain began its torrential descent. I draped my coat over my uncovered head and hurried, limping in pain, towards town. I let myself in Attorney Hunter's office. My coat was soaking wet. I was shivering. I went directly to the little lavatory to tidy myself a bit. My lips were swollen twice their size, and my eyes were narrow slits of blackness. My teeth were intact. I repeatedly submerged my face in cold water, hoping to shrink its size. I tried combing my uncomfortable hair a different way, bringing it down over my forehead. I dabbed layers of powder and rouge on my face to cover the black and blue bruises with as much composure as I could muster. I left the office and walked the 3 blocks to Richmond's store to await Percy's arrival. When he walked into the foyer with water pail and squeegee, I greeted him in as calm a manner as I possibly could. Can you see me alone on your lunch hour today? I want to show you something. Can you, please? I pleaded. I guess I can, he replied. I'll meet you in front of that new restaurant below my apartment. What's the mystery? Are you all right? I could not answer other than to say, I'm in a hurry to get to the office. I'll be there at noon. Back in the office, there was an hour and a half wait before Attorney Hunter would arrive. I did not want him to see me and question what had happened. How could I explain my appearance? I could never concoct a believable fabrication. I tripped over my little sister's roller skates and fell down the steps and was hit by a swing from my brother's golf club. I bumped into a door. I fell out of bed. Nothing happened. I would never reveal my estrangement from my family. I just prayed Attorney Hunter would phone in, as he sometimes did, to ask whether there were any messages and to say he was going directly to court and would contact me later. It almost happened that way. At 8:45, Attorney Hunter opened the office door and hurriedly said, I'm glad you're here, Miss Snipes. I'm on my way to court and will return after lunch. He reached for the morning newspaper, tucked it under his arm, and left. He never looked me in the face. He never saw how strange I looked. That morning on the stroke of 9, my phone call to Miss Clotilde Ferguson at the Canton Urban League was her first of the day. It set the stage for my departure from Canton. I asked her to follow through on all the particulars for my move to Philadelphia. I sought details for enrolling at Temple University in September. Would she contact the Philadelphia Urban League and the Armstrong School of Social Service? Would arrangements be made for a place for me to stay? The only assurance I gave Miss Ferguson was that I had time to earn enough money for train fare, tuition, and 3 or 4 weeks room rent. As an experienced cook, I could take on a part-time job in Philly. Smart girl, Norma. I'm glad to know you are not letting that job denial here destroy your determination to train for something else, just as good, if not better. Clotilde said, I shall get started on arrangements immediately. It is not too soon. Don't worry about a thing. I nervously busied myself about the office until 11:30. Then I placed a note on Attorney Hunter's desk, telling him I was not feeling well and could not remain for the rest of the day. I locked the office and hurried to meet Percy. He was waiting for me outside Hutchinson's restaurant. He rather reluctantly invited me into his one-room apartment on the floor above. What's the big surprise you want to show me? He asked with some concern. Without any embarrassment, any hesitancy, I removed my dress to show him the cuts and bruises on my back and arms and legs. Look, I said. Who did this to you? Percy asked in disbelief. I'm taking you to Dr. Walker's office right away. Come. No, I said, no, I will be all right. I think. Not Dr. Walker. I protested. I put my dress on and sat dejectedly in a nearby chair. Why not? He's my doctor and the best in town, Percy bragged. I know. He is Mom's doctor, too, and one of her fondest friends. He's the only person who can make Mom really smile when he tells her she is a great woman for having a large family. Dr. Walker is the 13th child born to his parents, and he respects Mom as if she were his own mama. I could never go to Dr. Walker and say, look at what my mom, this wonderful mother, did to me, or have him ask me what I did to cause these injuries. I explained. What did you do? Percy questioned. I talked back to Mom. That is an unforgivable sin, but that is not why she beat me. While my brother Eugene held a gun on me, I began crying. I stood up and started to leave the room, but I had to talk to someone, and there was no one else I trusted to hear what I was about to say. I sat in another chair and continued talking. Percy was somewhere in that room, pacing slowly back and forth, but he did not come near me. Mom and I have always been close, very close. Something happened between us. When I went to college, I've been replaced to some extent by Ethel and Eugene, but Mom does not ever want to lose me. You heard what she told you. She would rather follow all of her daughters to their graves than see them marry. If we girls marry, me in particular, she will have lost us all because as the oldest, I will lead the parade of the others' departure from home. She lost Pop, and his leaving her hurt her deeply. I know. I felt her pain. I think she wishes she had fought back, put him in jail for inadequate support, sued for a divorce, revealed his faults to his lodge brothers, punished him in some kind of way. So Mom's beating me to keep me in line was her way of releasing all the anger, all the humiliation, all the frustration she has carried for years. Somehow, something about me, my color, the ambitious plans I have, the things I say and do touches a sensitive, very sensitive chord associated with Pop. I think she realizes or suspects how much I love my Pop, and she feels betrayed. I burst into tears again, but I had more to say and had to control my emotions. I just want you to know I have left home. I will be staying with my grandmother until I get enough money to go to Philly. I have reconsidered the Urban League's recommendation to go to Temple University to train for a job as a social worker. School starts in September. I'm scared to death. I tried to force a faint smile. I stood up and paused, uncertain about saying the words that followed. You asked Mom last Thanksgiving if you could change my name someday, and she said no. If you ask me, I'll say yes. I want you to marry me. I do not love you. I do not know what love is, but I like you a lot. You are a real friend. I trust you. Come now, Percy said, and he quickly put my damp coat over my shoulders. I think that a doctor, any doctor, should see you right away. We must hurry downstairs. My landlady who saw us come up here, I am sure might get ideas and start a fancy rumor about me and you. Now, if you can walk with me back to Richmond's, I'll get a taxi to take you to any doctor you're willing to see and then take you to your grandma's. I think I want to go to a movie and sit there all afternoon and then go to grandma's much later. I want to be alone for a while. A good soaking in a tub of hot water this evening will help heal my wounds. I won't need a doctor, I said. 2 days later, I sat at dinner with Percy in a dimly lit corner of Hutchinson's restaurant. I thought there were no more tears in me, but not so. One look at Percy and the floodgates opened wide. Never in my life before had tears flowed so profusely. I could not explain why I was crying. I was not angry, but I did hurt all over. Every physical movement was painful. Inwardly, I was numb and terribly afraid. The first time Percy ever touched me with a gesture of affection and tenderness was in that restaurant. He pressed my hand firmly in his, pleading, "Don't cry, please. Crying won't change a thing. You've shared a great deal with me, Now let me tell you what happened to me when I was just a 14-year-old boy. I'm a man and you're a woman. It's true. But I think I know how you feel. I went through almost the same experiences you're going through now. Let me tell you something I've never shared with anyone else before. And guess what? That's where we're going to leave off. Right there. With him getting ready to share something he's never shared with anybody else before. Yeah, I've read a few books. I love reading biographies. Fiction, yeah, sometimes it'll hold my attention. Sometimes I just don't have the patience for fiction. Unless it's science fiction. I do like science fiction. But this story here, this is one of the best biographies I've ever read. The way that she draws you in. She's a good writer. She's actually a very good writer, even though that was not her everyday job. She did an excellent job of telling her story. And this is a lesson for all of us. We all need to tell our stories. If you haven't told your story to anybody yet, take out your cell phone right now. Take out that phone. You got your iPhone. Take it out your pocket and hit that record button. You got a record button on there? Hit that record button and just talk into your iPhone and start recording your story. Start from the very beginning, the earliest things you can remember, and start putting it down on that phone. Or if you want, you can put it into, you can do it on your computer and do it with Google Voice. Google Voice will record your words, but it will type them out for you. For those of you who have a hard time typing, there's all kinds of ways you can tell your story today that we couldn't do back in the day, or that was very expensive back in the day. Now, we don't have any excuse for not telling our stories except just pure laziness. So, it's time to do what the Funkadelic always said to do. Get off your ass and jam. Okay? We need to go ahead and get up off of that thing and work until we can do better. In the meanwhile, we're going to clock out right here. This is Doc Ock signing off. You know how I do this. And you know what I need all of you all to do, which is subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts channel. We will be, as always, we'll be black tonight with more selected poems from Miss Lou, the quote-unquote, the Daniel Webster of the Caribbean, if you want to call her that. I don't, but she is a force of nature. And we'll be reading, we'll be continuing the story we started last night of High John the Conqueror. So that's our scary story for tonight. So make sure to go ahead and tune in tonight, 9 o'clock. This is Doc Ock at noon and 9, signing off as we go to the extra. Let me just segue right on into it. In the meanwhile, peace with justice, at least. Oh, and Gina, I'm from Ethiopia. Since you wanted to know where I'm from, that's where I come from. I come from the land of my forefathers, Ethiopia. Birthplace of man, according to some folks. Peace out.